Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and in this video I'd like to discuss the absolute chaos that engulfed 10 Downing Street last night as the sudden resignation of one of Johnson's closest and longest serving advisors prompted a chain reaction of resignation that now stands at 5 altogether as I record this. But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification icon. So, what's going on? Before I go over what we know, let's cover how this has been spun by both Johnson's opponents and his supporters. So Johnson's opponents are describing the rats deserting a sinking ship. After all, if in a very short period of time, 5 of Boris Johnson's top team all resign one after the other, that looks quite bad, doesn't it? That looks like he's basically finished. Let's get out of here, lads. His top team are resigning. And it must be because Boris Johnson's position is completely untenable. He's going to fall any day now. This isn't quite true, as I shall explain in a bit. But his supporters are saying, no. Don't you remember at the start of the week, he promised to clear out of number 10. You know, we told him his problem's his top team. He has to get rid of them. This is just Boris Johnson carrying out his promise to us at the start of the week. You know, that is also not quite true either. So let's start with the first resignation. Munira Mirza, she had been with Boris Johnson for 14 years. She has been one of his closest advisors throughout his political career. When he was Mayor of London, she was one of his top advisors. She's been one of his top advisors as Prime Minister. It's absolutely true that Boris Johnson promised a shake-up of his top team in Downing Street, although he was reluctant to do so. Bear in mind, he's been under pressure from his own MPs for over a year. Ever since they managed to oust Dominic Cummings, they've been wanting him to have a wider clear out of the rest of them as well. So he's been under pressure to do this for a long time and never has. There have been some who've had to resign because they've really just stepped over the line. But by and large, Johnson has kept with them when he could. But even given that Johnson is now under so much pressure that he really has to have a shakeout, it's not likely that he would have wanted to get rid of Mirza. And there wouldn't have been that much pressure to do so either. They didn't have a big problem with her as far as I can understand. I've never seen any Tory MPs having a particular pop at her. So it's unlikely she would have been a casualty of any shake-up that Johnson was prepared to go along with. In addition, like when you get someone to resign, when it's not really a resignation, when you compel them to resign, you want it to be done in the most amicable way possible. Particularly when they've got the goods on you. Remember, all of these people know exactly what Boris Johnson's been up to for years. You want to keep them sweet. And really, it's doubly important in the top of politics, particularly with someone as indiscreet as Boris Johnson. For example, Johnson's personal private secretary, Martin Reynolds, the one who sent out the email with the bring your own booze party invites, he was one of the resignations that was compelled. He was the scapegoat. We knew he was going to be a scapegoat for some time. That was all done quietly. He's going back to the Foreign Office. That's what he wanted. It's reported that that's what he wanted. He's not enjoyed his time there. So Reynolds has left amicably because he's got what he wants. You know, he's a sacrificial goat, absolutely. But he also gets to go back to the Foreign Office. Like someone who resigns properly, if you actually resign, you don't move to a job in the same organisation, do you? Quitting is quitting. You quit the organisation. But Mirza didn't leave quietly. She's not gone to another job. She said she was resigning because Johnson did not apologise for the Savile slur against Starmer that's got Johnson into a lot of hot water. Although Johnson has now retracted it, sort of, he still hasn't apologised. And that's the thing. She said he should have apologised. Now, a couple of things here. First, this will definitely not be the reason for her departure. Absolutely zero chance of this. Not only has she been a top advisor to Johnson for 14 years, and so has gone along with a lot of depraved acts. This was not even the worst of them. She was also his main culture war strategist. So she's stepped into the blood herself. I agree that the lie he told about Starmer was stupid and costly from a strategic point of view. Stupid thing to do. But she's not going to resign on a moral principle like that, given what she's done in her 14 years. The second thing is that although she praised Johnson in a letter, so it wasn't a complete bridge burner. It's not like when I wrote in a resignation letter once that my boss was a blight upon humanity. That was a mistake. She nonetheless cited what is already a major source of political damage for Johnson. She called his lie scurrilous, and she said that he should have apologised and that she was leaving because he refused to apologise. That is not what you put in a resignation letter if you are agreeing to be a sacrificial goat. You just nice and you just go resigning as of this day. Thanks very much for your time. Blah 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 blah. So although we cannot know the full truth just yet, that won't come out for some time. The likelihood is that this is a genuine resignation. You can't rule out that she jumped before being pushed and decided to just not go quietly into the night, but I really doubt Johnson wanted to get rid of her personally. Plus, there's another hint. As a result of Mirza's resignation, 3 more followed yesterday evening, then another this morning. But last night, look at how it went. If Johnson was actually carrying out a clear-out, if it was part of a planned clear-out, it would not have been happening long after office hours and people have gone home, with no communication with the press and without replacements being named at the same time. Whenever a member of staff resigns, whether a genuine or compelled resignation, there's a spokesperson on hand to pass on the Prime Minister's thanks to the press. They go, I'd like to thank them for their service and announce the replacement. None of this happened. We just heard about resignation after resignation. There were no statements to the press because there was no one to give them because everyone was leaving. There were no replacements immediately announced. And it all happened in the evening, as I say. Not during the normal working day. In the evening, it was utter chaos. Another thing was that yesterday was the day when Rishi Sunak was trying to set out how the government were going to help people with the rising cost of energy. Complete fiddle, of course, but the message was the key. These resignations overshadowed that message. Now, you could argue Boris Johnson would not necessarily mind overshadowing Rishi Sunak because his once loyal Chancellor's now got the knives out and he stuck a couple into Johnson yesterday. But this was a message that was important for his government in general. Like Boris Johnson is coming under pressure to do something about the energy bills. This announcement was supposed to be it, and now it's not on the front pages. It didn't make sense to kick talk of help over energy bills, whether that help is real or not, into the middle pages with another scandal. What seems much more likely is that Johnson panicked when Mirza resigned and he thought, good, because something like that could have triggered another flurry of votes of letters of no confidence. So he needs to stop that. So he panicked, brought forward the resignations of intended scapegoats, because at least a couple of the people that resigned, everyone knew was intended anyway at some point. And it's possible that all of the other resignations were coming at some point. It is possible that the other 4 were planned anyway at some time, just not yet. But as Johnson was reluctant to actually go through with them and was only doing so to placate his MPs, he would not have done it like this all in one go. I mean, no one would have done it all in one go. It's madness. He would have done it one at a time to cause minimal disruption to his wall of sycophants and toadies, because it's long been known that Johnson's ego cannot take people saying no to him. He hates it. So this is why he gets genuinely upset in Prime Minister's questions, because you've got opposition MPs, not telling him he's great all the time. He hates it. So to jettison his shield so completely in one go will never have been part of his plan, because he's now exposed. Then it all descended into farce. Messages on a WhatsApp group of Johnson supporters was leaked online, because a lot of these groups, although there's always 1 or 2 in there who are pretending, there's a couple of plants. And it was leaked online, and it showed MPs being told to go on social media, praise Johnson for following through on his promise for a clear-out, and that they welcomed it. And then, despite the message being leaked, those Johnson supporters all went and posted their almost identical messages anyway. Now, here's the thing. It is normal for MPs to coordinate messages to the public. So you do often see MPs from a particular party, it doesn't matter whether it's Labour, Conservatives, SNP, Lib Dem, whatever. You will get MPs at a certain time all posting a message pushing the same thing because it's coordinated. But you're supposed to make it look natural. You don't post exactly the same message, especially one where people can see a leaked screenshot showing you getting your instructions to post that message, because you then just look stupid and the whole thing looks like an orchestrated con. They should have at least changed the message. Use your own words, for goodness sake. And finally, I'll finish with my 2 favourite takes of the night. The first was someone suggesting that Ed Miliband should have called a press conference and then just sat there eating a bacon sandwich as chaotically as he could. But the second was the thought that the DUP leadership might be furious that their news of collapse in the Northern Ireland Assembly will be kicked off the front page by a woman who people outside politics will never have heard of. Because that's true. I was going to, at this point, be talking about the DUP shenanigans. That was what I was going to be doing at this time. That's now going to be tomorrow because of this. But there you go. But this weekend could be an interesting time. Because although Johnson has tried to act to pretend he's in control of it, he's tried to make it look like this is his coordinated action. Anyone paying attention knows it's not. It's a panicked flurry of forced resignations. Because like I said, it was done without replacements named at the time, without a spokesperson explaining to the press what's going on, and done in the evening, not the daytime. This isn't a good look for him. And political commentator Jonathan Liss made a very good point that Johnson needed some scapegoats for when the Gray report is fully published. But he hasn't got any left now. They've all gone. They're all gone. You know, that's why I say with this resignation, it's probably a combination of three. Like, Mirza's definitely gone of her own volition. Reynolds and Doyle probably were compelled to go. But the others, I think, may have been pushed before, jumped before they pushed. I don't think Johnson necessarily expected the whole flurry of them to go out at once. And, you know, when the report comes out and public anger returns, he's now got nobody left in a senior role who was directly implicated to throw under the bus. There's no one left. The people coming in now, nothing to do with them. There's no one. Nobody other than Johnson himself, of course. And my thinking is in this one, you know, Liz was making the point, well, you know, he can't have planned to do this because now he's got no shield left. I think Johnson, in his mind, will be thinking that he will do everything he can to make sure that report never sees the light of day. Everyone's just assuming the Met Police will fanny about for a few months and then say, oh, nothing to do, or issue a few fines and that's that. And then the Gray report comes out, you know, say May, June, around about the time of the local elections, maybe just after the local elections. And then that'll be it, and that'll be done. Boris Johnson will cop for the disastrous result of the May local elections, as well as the fallout from the Gray report. But I think Johnson's thinking to himself, I'm going to bury that report, just like he tried to bury the report into Russian interference. We will have to see. But those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. Hope you found the video interesting. If you did, don't forget to click the like button. If you'd like to support the channel further, please also click the Patreon link for details. And until next time, I'll see you later.